following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain.
Hi, I'm Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today we're going to conduct a sea trial and features inspection of a well-equipped bay boat from Wellcraft, the 241 Fisherman. She's designed for fishing in skinny water, but also has a nod towards family comfort as well. Let's step aboard and see how Wellcraft is done.
The aft casting deck, quite sizable, non-skid surface, and notice how as I walk back and forth the boat remains stable.
We measured 18 inches to the step up to the deck, 7 feet 6 inches across, and the center section offers 1 feet 9.5 inches to transition from side to side.
In the center, we have a flip-up bench seat, 2 support struts on both sides, 36 inches across. Under the 2 side decks, there are live wells.
And notice how both hatches open with lift and lock latches.
Pull-up cleats eliminate the tripping hazards. Rod holders are just ahead. And tackle storage compartments just ahead.
A pair of 2-inch deck drains shed water and make for easy washdowns.
Underneath the leaning post is a 72-quart carry-on cooler, 4 rod holders just above, and over those, 4 more rod holders to the optional hardtop. Taking a look at the console, all black panel surrounded by a white console and white frames to the hardtop. There's an acrylic wraparound windshield. The compass is mounted in the center. We'd like to see that located in front of the helm. Just at the top of the panel, toggle switches, lighted when activated. Below, we've got Yamaha multifunction gauge and a 10-inch GPS map. Still room over on the side for additional electronics. Stainless steel steering wheel mounted to a tilt base, and I'm thankful to see that there's a steering knob. The Lenco trim tab controls are right alongside. We also have a control for the jack plate and the power pole. Yamaha's digital controller just behind. To the companion side is a Fusion stereo with connectivity just below. The bench seat is in a fixed position, 42 inches wide, and notice that when we're sitting we've got footrest both low and high. Wellcraft did an exceptional job on the hardtop. Notice how it's got a slight curve to it. That allows water to run off, and it keeps water from pooling at the bottom of the antenna mast. Underneath, spreader lights, 3 color lights for over the helm. There's an optional electronics box that's accessible both to the front and the rear, and is compartmentalized, and this allows, say, a charter captain to keep his gear separate from his passengers. We've got 2 sets of undergunnel rod storage to each side of the boat, vertical rod storage to both sides of the console, and notice that the hardtop does accommodate the rods. And notice how the rod holders are draining. Side decks measure in at 20 inches. The foredeck, accessing that requires going up a 9-inch step. Once on top, plenty of room to walk around, and I like the raised toe rail that will keep you from stepping over to the edge without even having to look down. As for measurements, 6 feet 3 inches at its widest by 7 feet. It's pre-rigged for a trolling motor, and there's a pedestal base for a seat. There's an aerated live well in the step, plenty of storage all around, including a dedicated space for a 5-gallon bucket and additional storage fully forward. There's also a recessed area just behind the storage for putting additional items, and it's padded, as well as self-draining. Adding some cushions and removable seat backs converts the area into a family-friendly place. The storage inside the head is accessed from the front, and notice how the door opens upward instead of to the side. This gives us an opening 26.5 inches with 4 feet 9 inches of overhead clearance. To both the port and starboard bulkhead, there's storage that snaps into place. Above on the port hand side, electrical panel with a battery switch, and you can get access to behind the console from this panel right here. You can order this as an empty compartment with a porta potty or with a pump out head.
The Wellcraft 241 Fisherman has a length overall of 24 feet 4 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a draft of 31 inches. With an empty weight of 4,200 pounds, full fuel, and 2 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 5,142 pounds. Freeboard measures 11 inches at the stern and 30 inches at the bow. With the single Yamaha F250 turning a 17T by 15.5 propeller, we reached our top speed at 50.1 miles per hour at 6,100 RPM. Best cruise came in at 3,000 RPM and 23.2 miles per hour. At that speed, we were burning 6.7 gallons per hour that translated into a range of 273 statute miles while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 87-gallon total fuel capacity. The 241 is quite responsive to the controls, coming up on plane in 4.1 seconds, accelerating to 20 miles per hour in 6.3 seconds, and 30 in 9.3 seconds, and she does so with practically no bow rise. Both the steering and the engine controls are mechanical, so there's plenty of feedback to the operations, with the steering exhibiting 6.5 turns from lock to lock on the wheel. The plexiglass windshield does a good job of deflecting wind, and there's minor distortion at the curves to the side. With glass-comp conditions, we couldn't test how she handles waves, but when we made S-type turns through our photo boat wakes, she showed a clean transition with no hull slap and remained dry. In turn tests, she displayed good agility. She held her line well in larger arcs, and in power turns showed no hint of falling off a turn and only ventilating the prop if we held the power on into the turn and let her bleed off speed. All in all, a comfortable and well-handling boat. So not only is she well laid out for her fishing mission, she's also got features that families will appreciate and the handling to assure everyone stays comfortable. And that's my full test and features inspection of the 241 Fisherman from Wellcraft. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.